Good morning or good evening. I guess when you watch this, it'll be evening. Well, I can't control the time of day you watch the video. Or can I? I can't. I can try though. It's your friendly neighborhood Ryan here, folks. I'm here again with another Cyberpunk video for you. A topic and game that everyone is just so understanding and reasonable about and not defensive at all about. Yeah, CD Projekt Red has released the patch notes for patch 1.2, which is live right now, right as we speak. Go and get it. And just based on the patch notes and also the download size, it's 44 gigabytes large. It has a large number of changes, and I hope as we go through it, you'll see what I mean. Personally, I really hope this is what the game needs to start and have that recovery process that it hasn't had yet, where we can begin to appreciate the world that they created, and myself included, of course. Again, I stressed many times when I mentioned the game that I enjoyed the game a lot. I really did, but it was clearly just in an unfinished state at launch, and I've been holding out the hope that the new updates coming would improve some of the elements of the game. You recall I was critical of the last two patches as they didn't really fundamentally address the underlying flaws of the game, and based on my reading of it, I think that's not likely to change here, but I do feel more encouraged that at least this is the start of something better. Now, I can't go through all of it because if I did, then we would be here for at least a half hour or more reading it verbatim. Instead, I will read bits and pieces that I found interesting and then come in from time to time to give you some of my thoughts in case you care about those. I hope you do. Finally, before I begin, allow me to quickly say if you like the video, subscribe to the channel or subscribe to another YouTuber you like. Big or small, we all need support and love. Mostly me though, please. Not mostly me, other people too. Okay, the following is for patch 1.2. Gameplay. The NCPD spawn radius for when the player commits a crime has been increased. New steering sensitivity slider added to the control settings allows reducing steering speed for all vehicles on all input devices, particularly useful for keyboard users. Adjusted the vehicle steering code to work better in low and extreme high frame rate situations to produce more consistent results. Improved steering on base consoles noticeably. Unstuck rocking / rotating feature added to all vehicles. Use the left stick or the keyboard keys to engage rocking and rotating to stuck / beach vehicles to try and free them. Minor driving model tune revisions to some vehicles to improve steering, cure excessive body roll, and oversteer. The spawn radius for police was something that was teased or leaked a few weeks ago. CD Projekt Red was reportedly working on a fix for the NCPD spawn rate because players would commit a crime and it would feel like the police would just appear out of nowhere seemingly and respond in record time to levels you would never have guessed that they could. The steering was always weird for me in this game because it always felt like the car was fighting with you or fighting for control, like it was always fishtailing and swerving. It was really a blast overall. That was sarcasm for those of you who can't tell. Also appears there's going to be ways to get your car out of places it's stuck in, so generally that's good news all around as far as I'm concerned. Continuing. Fixed an issue where V could get pushed too far by a speeding vehicle. If V picks up a body containing a quest item, the item will now automatically be added to the inventory. Fixed an issue where a civilian running from a driving player could react incorrectly. Words are hard for me. Picking up or grappling an NPC with a burning or EMP status now transfers the status to the player. Improved jacking in interactions with forklifts. Fixed an issue where dodging right after the Kereznikov cyberware effect ended resulted in pushing V a great distance forward. Fixed an issue where enemies did not fall on the ground after being killed with a synapse burnout. Some of this stuff, like I said, that was a mouthful, but it felt encouraging to me because you can see some of these fixes seem to at least begin to address some of those fundamental underlying problems I had with the game, and a lot of other people did too, at least on console I can say, where it felt pedestrians barely reacted to your presence, and of course just janky animations or animations overall that used to just work incorrectly. I think some of the changes that have been listed go a long way towards fixing those. The rest of those gameplay ones are a bunch of small fixes to enemy placement, character interactions, and other things in gameplay. Like I said, I can't go over the whole thing, so I do encourage you to read over the full patch notes if it interests you. Speaking of, the section with the quest fixes is in and of itself massive in its own right, so I'm not going to go and read over it, especially considering it could possibly contain spoilers. And yeah, I know the game has been out for a few months and, you know, everyone doesn't care about spoilers, I guess, anymore. Or you're just going to say, hey, avoid spoilers by not following the game. I get it. But I'm trying to be nice here, folks. I have a compromise. I'm just going to have some screenshots of the notes coming in on screen, and here you'll see, and if you want to read them from here, just pause the video. But to summarize, there's just tons of fixes to quests, from characters going to different positions or showing up when they're supposed to or where they're supposed to, or just removing various exploits players had access to where they shouldn't have had. There is more, but that's just the gist of the quest fixes. It's hard for me to comment on those quest fixes because I don't know if I experience as many of those issues as they are fixing. Obviously, since I beat the game, I don't remember a lot of those quests, but I'm glad that these things will be addressed because I can recall one instance where I did have a quest in my journal that just wouldn't continue though. The quest giver, Izzy Wizzy, I think is her name, you're contacted by, and I met with her and she said to wait for her for a few days and she would call me back, which I did, and then she didn't call me. And now I'm sitting here wondering if I did something to put her off. Maybe I upset her. I don't know. Izzy Wizzy, the one that got away. Izzy Wizzy. I didn't see that as one that had a potential issue or one that's being fixed or that was reported upon as having an issue, but I just hope that's really just me being a dumbass. I don't know. Moving on, the open world. Fixed an issue where it was possible to complete the objective for destroying flamingos if they were destroyed before the objective was active in Epistrophe, Rancho Coronado. Collisions will no longer fail to stream in randomly during driving, which could lead to V driving into buildings and falling outside of the world. Destructibles will no longer become indestructible after loading a save. Fix an issue where some NCPD hustles were not marked as finished after looting the objective container. Fix an issue where achievements for completing district activities were not always unlocked. Failing gig, no fixers will no longer block the Wasteland achievement. Fix an issue where completed NCPD hustles were not always counted properly towards the Jungle achievement. Fix an issue where collecting the additional reward did not end the gig properly. And gig, no fixers. Fix an issue where V could be unable to interact with the computer and upload the virus. In gig, a lack of empathy. It is no longer possible to complete some parts of the gig before getting the contract. In gig, the frolics of Councilwoman Cole. Huangbo, I think I said that right, will no longer get stuck inside a car in gig, Fight of the Cheetah, which could lead to blocked progression. Blocked is the word how I wanted to say there, yes. Fix an issue where V would sometimes could not talk to Anna Hamill. In gig, Woman of La Mancha. Fix an issue where combat will not always interrupt dialogue with Anita Hamill. In gig, Woman of La Mancha, I said that twice. Fix an issue where some dialogue lines could be missing during holo calls. V will no longer be able to move after finishing gig, tied on a leash. Interaction with the van in gig radar would no longer disappear before returning to it, which could lead to block progression. Looting medicines right after getting to Corporal Hare's room will no longer block progression. In gig, backs against the wall. As you no doubt can tell, there's a lot of progression fixes in the gigs and getting achievements, a lot of them progression blockers in some instances, even some immersion breaking ones like just the call audio just not playing. That was a major issue I'm glad to see addressed. We all know that ill-fated Delamain face appearing on the screen with seemingly nothing to say, just wanting to check in, seeing how we're doing. These are weird things, right? Sometimes in games where one thing can seemingly just affect another aspect of the game for no reason, right? So something as simple as the player picking up an item early can break something later, and I can imagine it can be hard to catch sometimes, and that seems to be a lot of the fixes that are here too. Especially when you have an open world game that aims to be non-linear. It seeks to aim for that at least, only for an item you picked up 2 hours ago ruin a quest that you're doing 2 hours later. I hope that means a majority of these issues will no longer be present, or if they are, to a much lesser extent. The next section is cinematic design, and I will again go over a few of those as some of them could possibly spoil things, and even then it's just a pretty big list, so I'm just going to be picking and choosing a small section of it. What you're getting here is more animation fixes and progression fixes and also animations, as well as some general things that break the cinematics or the cinematic design. It fixed lack of interaction with Mitch after skipping dialogue and We Gotta Live Together. V no longer gets stuck in a sitting position after connecting to Pan Am's car in Life During Wartime. Fixed an issue that prevented player from controlling the turret that could block progression in Love Like Fire. Added missing family photo during the scene with Hanako in Play It Safe. Fix an issue with Detective Hans Sigre in I Fought the Law. Characters no longer teleport near the player while in a holo call dialogue. Fix multiple issues with V wearing the wrong clothes in the third-person perspective. Fixed multiple issues during sex scenes. Thank God. Improved interruption system for scenes. Fix an issue where the stalker wouldn't arrive at the bridge in Every Breath You Take. Fix an issue where Judy would stand up from the chair in the scene between brain dances and Double Life. Fix multiple issues with important quest NPCs randomly missing animations during cinematics. Interrupting dialogue will now stop the voiceover line. Fixed multiple issues with the NPCs mounting vehicles. Fixed Jackie's pose and grip on the motorcycle handlebar in the pickup. I hope this makes for some better immersion, and I hope this fixes some of the little issues with the way scenes sometimes continue to play out, and you'll get a holo call that you can't ignore, so when you're listening to 2 things at the same time, it can be kind of a mess. Environments and levels. The objective will no longer get stuck on Neutralize the Attackers and Dream On. V will no longer get stuck inside an AV flying off if standing on pipes during suspected organized crime activity. Opposites attract. Fixed an issue where 2 fast travel points are missing map pins. Fixed issues related to improper NPC behavior in combat, for example, not changing to the correct attack mode or getting stuck in a location. Fixed multiple issues related to NPCs not reacting to V's presence or not entering combat properly. Fixed multiple issues related to NPCs clipping with objects. Fixed a number of issues related to wrong or missing contents of lootable items. Fixed multiple issues related to V not being able to interact with lootable items. Continuing on, fixed multiple issues related to the improper functioning of devices such as cameras, turrets, or mines. Fixed an issue where basilisks could fall under the map when the door leading to Mikoshi is reached. Fixed an issue where Lieutenant Mower had a high chance to die in collisions, blocking the Cyber Psycho hunt. Fixed an issue where it was very difficult to access the computer in the back of the gas station and life during wartime. Fixed the misspelled leaving Night City sign. Fix the glitch scaffolding in Haywood, Vista Del Rey. Fix multiple issues where players could fall out of the map due to gaps and missing collisions. Fix multiple issues where players could get stuck in location geometry. Fix multiple issues where players could reach unintended areas, potentially blocking quest progression. Fixed multiple issues with disappearing or misplaced assets. Fixed multiple issues with assets floating in the air. Fix multiple issues with assets appearing or changing appearance on site. Fix some issues with parts of assets missing, allowing the player to see inside. Fix issues where rain would be present in covered areas. Fix issues with invisible colliders present on locations. Fix multiple issues with higher resolution textures failing to stream. As I said before, this is a massive patch, and a lot of things like the times you getting stuck in the geometry or the player getting stuck or even things not functioning properly or interacting properly in the game, rain coming through areas that are covered, or even my favorite, the most prominent of which for me being the floating objects. I think I played Cyberpunk like last month and I was seeing them. There was a scene I recall very early in the game where Jackie walks forward and his guns just didn't move with him, and I was like, okay, this is good. This is good. The next is graphics, audio, and animation. Currently, I think on high-end PCs, the game looks the best from what I have seen. And in my review of Cyberpunk, I said the audio was legit impossible for me to comment on because it was just so broken I couldn't realistically give my opinion on it. So here we go. Graphics, audio, and animation. Fixed NPCs moving after being killed. Improvements in textures rendering from afar. Fixed a visual issue with fast travel and cinematic transition. Adjusted visual quality of some elements when underwater, improvements in materials, details, quality, fixed V's in correct position while riding a motorcycle, improvement for interior and exterior light sources, adjusted dirt quality on medium and low settings, fixed the lack of a crack in the mirror after V smashed it, fixed an issue where pink particles would appear on camera close up, improved foliage destruction visuals. V's hands are not correctly displayed on a steering wheel while driving. V now leans out of a vehicle correctly during chases. Fixed an issue where the character could appear deformed while mounting motorcycles. Fixed a level of detail issue occurring for Joy Toys in Jig Jig Street. Fixed several issues with missing lip sync. Fixed multiple issues with NPCs T-posing. That's so sad, I'm gonna miss that one. Camera no longer flips when V is under an object and jumps. Improved camera movement when entering a vehicle. Fix an issue where some items would be attached to NPCs twice or could be attached to NPCs twice. Fix NPCs shouting after being killed. Jackie no longer shouts, "Nice shot!" when V kills enemies while in stealth mode. I hope these animation changes add up to make the game feel more immersive, and even the smallest details can help mitigate some of the issues that I had, or the major issues. Now quickly I'm going to run through some of the UI improvements and the stability improvements, because as I keep repeating, and I will continue to repeat, this is a major patch, so to go over every little bit in detail would require way more time than is possible for this to be included in this video. The UI, fix an issue with ads not being properly displayed on curbs, multiple visual updates and adjustments for ads, fix multiple visual issues in quest briefings, updated the Arabic language layout in quest briefings, updated grenade icons according to their damage type, fix multiple visual issues with the icons display, fix multiple visual issues in the UI panels, including journal, map, scanner, and others, fix an issue that paused the game if the shard was read directly from the loot container in a minor activity, fixed freezes and crashes related to equipping and unequipping Johnny's jacket, added button hints in order to move forward on the treadmill in Where's My Mind, fix an issue where database links would not allow jumping to the selected entry, fix an issue that blocked the player from answering holo calls manually. Entering a vehicle right before opening the vehicle menu should no longer block progression. Stability and performance. This section discusses the changes that enter all the platforms, but many of them make a bigger difference on last generation consoles and lower performance machines. Improve the stability and performance of the engine, the rendering engine, reducing the number of random crashes, memory optimizations and memory management improvements in various systems, including reducing the number of crashes, various optimizations and improvements in shadows, shaders, physics, work spot system, spawn system, scene system, animation system, occlusion system, facial animation systems, fixed mechanism for managing UI icons, Atlas's memory, which helps with memory-related crashes, especially during long playthroughs. Multiple UI stability improvements and fixes for the most common UI-related crashes. Various crash fixes, among others, in settings menu and upon reloading saves repeatedly during gameplay, and GPU-related. Multiple UI and performance improvements fix a performance drop during the controller button mashing, causing V to receive multiple copies of the same item. Fixed detection map markers, sometimes appearing broken or glitchy on machines with slower hard drives. Various other stability and performance improvements. A massive list of improvements and fixes to performance on lower-end machines as well as last-gen hardware as well. They fix UI bugs and memory problems, less freezes and crashes and performance drops. More stability and graphical improvements. This one is a doozy, and I'm hoping to check it out and report on it if the game feels to be massively improved after. There's even some PC-specific and console-specific fixes I'm not going to read, but will be coming up on the screen as I give you some of my closing thoughts. Look, this may not be the thing that completely upends the game and makes it a smash critical darling it was meant to be, but it definitely leaves someone like myself kind of encouraged to see more fixes and improvements, as I do still believe CD Projekt Red is a good and talented studio? They're a good studio, and they bit off more than they can chew. Why can I speak today? You may recall, I mean, maybe you don't, because who watches anything I do. You may recall the last few patches I was critical of because they were smaller and didn't address a lot of the underlying issues that I had with the game or that are in the game, and this one may not either. And look, I stress again, I did enjoy the game quite a bit. There was also the issue of some of the patches introducing their own issues and problems, like the one that caused PC saves that were 8 MB or more to become corrupted and unrecoverable, blah, 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 blah. So in conclusion, finally, so finally, I'm going to try this out, and if I experience anything worth noting, I'll come here and talk about it. Until then, I will have to talk to you all later because we've already gone on a lot longer than I thought I would. Again, I toss it to you. What do you think of these changes? Does it make you want to return, or are you still done with the game? What would they have to do to get you back? As always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If not, a thumbs down. I already asked you to subscribe, so I'm not going to ask you to do it again. But just so you don't forget, doing so helps me, and if nothing else, thanks for watching regardless, and I'll see you later.
Me. One person, two bodies. My bodies do everything together. Everything.
We really do everything together, even under the sheets.